My wife always says that that's my favorite character in The Wizard of Oz, like, because it is. I love that guy.
The guard.
Who rang
Nice.
that bell? And,
Who is also the wizard. Yeah.
but in my mind, it's the wizard, not a bunch of stuff.
Nice. It's
Like,
actually him.
even though
Nice.
it's not, I know it's not, it's supposed to be different people, but I just love the
Still.
idea of the wizard just, like, beating
Yes.
everybody.
He drives the horse of a different color.
Yeah, he's just the guy.
I've never thought of it that way, and I love this headcanon that, like, it's actually him.
It makes Emerald City such a weirder place than it already is. Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me is my wicked cool friend, Frank. How are you today?
This is so Massachusetts. Like, so Massachusetts.
I'll have you know I live in Rhode Island now.
I know, but you know what? You can take the Massachusetts out of the boy, but or strike that, reverse it.
No, that still makes sense. That made sense to me. I don't know why.
Hmm.
Anyway, Frank, we're here on Beer with Geeks to talk about things while we drink beer. Are you drinking a beer? I'm not, but I hope you are.
I am, in fact. I am drinking a Winter Fest lager from Jack's Abbey Craft Lagers. It is their extra layer Winterfest lager.
I like the name.
Yeah, right. I like the name. I like the can design that is designed to look like a bunch of beer steins on a ugly Christmas sweater, with mittens and snowflakes and Christmas trees and such. It is grab an extra layer. Wrap yourself in cozy flavors with extra layer, a Munich-style dark lager boasting rich caramel and toffee notes. This beer is your perfect companion for chilly festive evenings. Keep the fest alive this winter with a few extra layers.
Nice.
That is
Sounds delicious.
6% ABV beer.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
I want some. Jack's Abbey is really good.
Jack's Abbey always does good stuff.
Yeah. Never disappointed in Jack's Abbey.
Yeah. So if you like lagers, which I do, Jack's Abbey has some great, and they have IPAs too.
Can you be a beer drinker and not like lager?
I mean, that's a valid question. I guess there are people who don't prefer them because they haven't had a good one.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
They've had a good IPA, but they haven't had a good lager, so they think IPAs are better than lagers objectively.
Yep.
Where it might be more of a gray area. And if you have a good lager, it could be just as good as an IPA.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, am not drinking a beer. I'm drinking a delicious Yogi sweet lemon everyday immune tea. With some whiskey in it to make it not immune anymore.
What kind of whiskey are we talking?
Thomas Jefferson.
You've had this before on the show.
Yeah, I have had. I got to finish the bottle.
Sure.
So it is it's a good whiskey. The tea arguably is better.
Okay.
So Yogi is a very good tea. This is a weird thing to say, but helpful probably. Yogi tea is one of the only teas that the tea bag does not have microplastics in it.
You did tell me this. Yeah.
So, if you're looking to avoid some microplastic, Yogi tea is the way to go. It's good.
Is so interesting and terrifying. Just sad.
Why can't I just have tea without plastics in it?
Like, why do I gotta have plastic in it?
Why is that so hard?
Why is that so hard? Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, yes, I'm out of beer in my house. So, and the only other bit of alcohol that we had, I didn't really feel like drinking. I didn't feel like port. So
all right. Well, there you go.
So I landed on this.
Well, I am glad to be
tasty too, just like candy.
That's good. That gets a bell. It's so tasty too. Do you poop out at parties? Do you pop out at parties? Are you unpopular?
Speaking of popular, Frank,
popular.
You and I both saw Wicked because we are of the masses, if nothing else. Actually, no, that's not true. I wanted to see it. I don't care if other people saw it or not. I know. I was a fan of the show when it was just a CD in my CD player back when I was a wee lad, and It was actually the Wicked was the first Broadway show I ever saw, like, on Broadway.
Cool.
Um, and I had fallen away from it for so long. I had not listened to anything, but I was excited about the prospect of a movie, especially when everyone said it was good. Not even just like regular people, like people I actually know who went to a movie theater. How
Right.
novel these days, and was like, "No, it's real." Somebody I work with was legitimately like, "It was good. I think I'm gonna go again." Like,
Mhm.
and it wasn't like a
Yeah,
22-year-old that like has time. You
right.
know,
It was a normie who
it was
needed to make time in their
a
day.
normie, right? Exactly. Who had to would legitimately have to make time to go again. So, it was a long journey to get to see this movie. I tried to see it with my sister back in
Oh, yeah.
November when it came out, and we just couldn't get our act together because we're adults. Um, so it took until after Christmas.
Your adults, your
Um,
parents, it's
yeah, it's tough. I did end up seeing Gladiator 2,
nice.
by myself because she couldn't end up like we just couldn't make Wicked work. So I went to Gladiator 2 by myself.
Nice.
Um, and that was a movie that I saw. Never need to
Yeah,
talk about
okay.
it or mention it ever again.
Cool.
Yeah,
Works for me.
it was a movie.
Alright.
But what did you think of Wicked?
I really thought you were about to ask me what I thought of Gladiator.
No,
I
what's your Wicked journey before you saw
My
the
wicked
movie?
journey. My wicked journey, I remember it coming out. I grew up in the New York metro area, as I've mentioned, if you've listened before, watched before. So I always treated to commercials for Broadway shows on my local television stations.
That's
Um,
nice.
yeah,
What a fun treat for a
yeah.
commercial that is. We don't
Oh,
get
yeah.
anything like that around here.
I know, yeah. Oh, I
Well,
grew up with
technically speaking, that's not true. We get stuff for like
but
the
when it comes to Broadway in Boston,
right,
right? Right.
exactly.
But I got to have those all the time. So that was actually a pretty cool thing. And so I remember there are so many Broadway shows that I haven't necessarily seen, but maybe I've heard some of the soundtrack or I know a couple of songs from it, but I remember the visuals from the commercial.
Hmm.
Like I will always remember, and I know you're a fan of the Jekyll and Hyde musical.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not good, but I love it.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know, whether it's good or not, but I remember the commercials for it on
See,
TV.
I will take that
Um,
back. I will not the lyrics are so on the nose, it's hilarious, but I do enjoy it. Like, I think
alright.
that's the but it is good. Some really nice harmony and chorus parts and good emotional heart story, good so anyway.
I believe it. If there's a good, film version of it somewhere, I would
S
love to.
Well, I'm so glad that you said that, Frank. I would not say that there's a good film version of it. I'd say
Okay.
that well, no, that's not true. I'd say that there is a good film version of it, except that Dr. Jekyll slash Mr. Hyde is played by David Hasselhoff,
Ah,
which is worth your watch
okay.
because David Hasselhoff is a talented man, and he was just struggling a bit playing that part. But everybody else around him
Mhm,
is good.
mhm.
Like, obviously, trained, could do it, whatever
Yeah.
else. Really cool set design, whatever. It's kind of a hammy show, if you know
How
what
were
that
the costumes, Tim? How
costumes
were
are
the
good.
costumes?
Costumes are good. Costumes are good. Production design's good. Good lighting. So yes, it actually so you can watch that one. It actually is not
Nice.
it's not terrible.
Is it a stage? So it's a stage.
It's a yes, he was
It's a
on Broadway.
filmed stage.
He was on Broadway, so it's
Oh, he
like
was on
they
Broadway,
filmed
okay.
they filmed it a couple of nights and they mashed them all together.
Okay.
So
Alright.
I loved that one when I was in high school for
That's cool.
sure.
That's cool.
Mhm.
See, like that is exactly what I would yes, that's exactly what I would watch, is a filmed a pro shot performance,
Yeah.
of the Broadway show is what I'd wanna see. Um, but we're not here to talk about that, we're here to talk about Wicked. And Wicked, I first became familiar with through those TV spots
Hmm.
for it, when it first opened in, 2003, I think it is, right? Somewhere around there.
Yeah,
Right.
yes, yes, and I know that. I can help you
Yeah.
because I was that my brother was 2 years older than me,
Yes.
and that is, when we were looking at schools, for him
Okay.
to go to college. We were in high school. He was a junior going to be, no, he graduated in 2003, so it must have been like that, maybe it came out in 2002 then, Or maybe we were, like, moving him in or
Maybe.
something like that. Maybe it was that because I remember driving, like, to the school that he went to, the college he went to, and I basically listened to that album the entire, like, 3-hour drive
Nice.
and 3 hours back because I was also reading the Wicked novel at the
Oh,
same
wow.
time.
So you're listening to the soundtrack and reading the novel at the same time.
Yeah, and the novel
Nice.
is
It's
quite
a big book, isn't it?
yeah, it took me a while to get through as a child, as a teenager.
Right.
It's much different than the not much different than the musical. It's definitely like an adult book.
That's my understanding, yes.
Yeah, it's not meant for the wee children.
Yeah.
Whereas the musical is not meant for wee children, but it definitely skews younger. You
Yes.
know, it skews slightly above the Wizard of Oz.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yes, 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 yes. It's
yeah,
it's like PG-13 Wizard of Oz.
yeah. Not a, yeah, PG Wizard of Oz. I mean, really, because
You're right,
this
PG,
movie is
PG, not
PG.
13. You're right, PG.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you're 9. You can handle
Mhm.
this. You're 10.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's okay.
You're right. Yeah. If Wizard of Oz is G, then yes, this is PG.
Yeah, yeah. So you had never seen it.
I had never gotten to see the show. My sister, is a
Friend of
is
the
a
show, Frank's sister. Yeah,
friend of the show, my sister,
yeah.
Steph, shout out. She is a big, big Broadway fan, always has been. So I was also exposed to a lot of musicals through her. I mean, if
Mhm,
ones that I didn't find myself, I found through her. So heard the soundtrack a lot growing up because of her, have listened to it a lot myself as a result. And I but that was it. I knew the soundtrack, but I didn't actually know the story all that well.
mhm,
Um, in fact, I thought that, like, where this movie ends is where the show would end. So I didn't
mm.
know that there was more after that, um,
Yeah, a lot more.
yeah, I didn't realize. I thought that would be the climax of it. Um, so it was a fun thing for me to be familiar with the music,
Mhm.
and a
But then
lot of
see
the
the interconnected story in between all the pieces, right?
get to see where the songs fall into place and stuff. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah. It's a really fun, which is, I mean, often the experience seeing a Broadway show for the first time, honestly, is it something you've been into, right? Is like you've heard the Hamilton soundtrack 100 times. Now you get to watch it,
yeah.
or whatever. So
Well,
it's
that one
fun.
you basically do hear the entire show.
That one is more, yes. Yeah.
It'd
Yeah.
be like
It's
listening to, like, more like The Sound of Music and being like,
sure.
"Oh,
Yes.
that's
Yes. Yes.
why they
Yes.
like her all of a sudden," or whatever.
Exactly.
Mhm,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, better example. So, yeah, it's nice to get that experience, and it's kind of cool to have this, like, cliffhanger experience of, "Oh, okay, I thought this is where the story was going to where part 2 would end, but this is the end of part 1. So, ooh, there's a whole other movie still of more story, and I don't know what's gonna happen, but I know what some of the songs are." Like, so it's
mm.
super, super fun and super interesting.
That is fascinating. Um, I guess so I'm glad that you said that because I don't want to spoil, I guess, the
Oh, sure.
second half of the show for you, as we talk about it, even though you listen to some of the music and,
Yeah.
some people might not have who are listening to this who
Sure.
only saw the
Sure.
first part of the movie. But it's interesting, like you said, like this, logically, in a lot of ways, you could stop this one, never watch part 2, and just watch The Wizard of Oz.
It does kind of feel like you could. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, in a
It
way, yeah.
in a weird way, it just, like, totally cuts, and you can just kind of like, "Well, I guess Glinda," spoilers for
That's
Wicked
it.
now, I need to
Yeah, I
talk
guess
about
so.
it, but, like, I guess Elphaba and Glinda aren't friends anymore, and then the wizard's kind of a jerk, but he always has been, so that's not new.
That's yeah, right.
Um, and
Turns
then
out he's a fascist, but I did but didn't
yeah.
didn't know that, but
Yeah, well, he's doesn't come off so well.
mm,
Um, but, oh, man, it's actually really tough to talk about this because, like, when you only know the first half, because there's, like, seed
ah,
planting for stuff in the first half of the show that pays off in the second half
sure.
that, like, you haven't, like, talked about. So, but you do know the
Mm,
music.
I do, I do.
So so, like, do you know, like, why Elphaba carries that little vial around? Because they never go back to that
No.
she finds under her pillow.
Nope.
Do you know why Bach and, what's his, Prince Fiero are important?
Not really.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun. I can't wait to talk about part 2 with you.
Yeah. Dude, I barely knew there were talking animals in this show. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
Dr. Dillamond. Yeah, but
yeah, like I barely knew that. So, um, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this is a little bit Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe.
totally, totally. And it's so funny that when you make it slightly like kid oriented in some way, you're like, well, you gotta have talking animals.
Gotta have animals. Come on,
You gotta have
kids
the
love
animals
animals.
that speak the words. We have the Cowardly Lion in the
There
Wizard
you go.
of Oz,
There you
so
go.
let's just
Yeah,
broaden that branch out.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
true. Oh man, that does put the Cowardly Lion in a different. I didn't really think about it in that.
Okay, so you connected that one, right? The lion in the cage that gets let go in the forest.
Wait, I forgot there was a lion that got let go in the
Yeah, right.
forest.
Yeah, there's like everyone, this is a cage. I know you've never seen one of these before. This baby
Oh.
cub that's in here that's terrified, perhaps a
Oh,
coward.
right. Okay, I do remember this now.
Yeah.
See,
So
no, I didn't connect that because I wasn't. I think I no, I didn't. I wasn't. I like no,
I would
didn't
not consider that a
didn't think
spoiler
that one
because it
through.
was obviously a lion. So I'm just gonna move that one forward and not try to
I
spoil
didn't
the
think that
rest
one
by you.
through. Honestly, I didn't pay enough
Yeah.
attention to that to really understand what yeah.
There's other stuff in there that if
Mhm.
you're really paying attention, you're gonna be like, "Oh, dang it. That was a thing. Didn't think that was a thing, but
I'm
here
sure
we
there's
are."
tons of it. I'm
Yeah,
sure
some
there's
really
tons of it.
mhm. Yeah, there's some good stuff. Even yeah, I don't wanna spoil anything for you. So, anyway, so,
Don't like don't
let's change tracks, and you tell me stuff that you really liked, and I will agree with you or disagree with you, and then I will just
Okay,
keep
let's
my
get
mouth
this out
shut
of the
and just
way.
watch part 2.
Let's get this out of the way. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo were both fantastic.
Why don't we get them out of the way? They were incredible.
Well, I mean, every it's, like, obvious that they were fantastic, so I'm like,
It's
"Let's get
true.
the"
A couple things I do wanna say, though.
Yeah, yeah,
One,
of
I
course.
was absolutely impressed with Ariana Grande. Like, I knew she could truthfully, because of her SNL sketches, I knew she could do the
Yes.
acting bit because
Yes.
I knew she was talented that way. Her comedic timing is incredible.
It
She's
is.
so
It
good.
is. She is
Yeah,
very
so
good at
she, like,
comedy.
really works at it. Because if you watch her early SNL stuff, she's not good. So, like,
Mm.
she, like, broke character a lot and, like, went back to it, and
Ah,
then so if you, like, watch her recently and then you go back to the beginning, you're like, "Well, you, like, worked at it. You decided you
interesting.
were gonna be better."
I
And
haven't compared, and I can't really remember any of her sketches from earlier appearances,
there
but I
was
do
one
remember the
where she was putting on a weird voice. It was like I'll see if I can find it and send
Sure.
it to you, but I think it might have been her first ever. Like,
Got it,
she
got
looks
it.
like a baby. Like,
Sure,
she's
sure.
clearly a child, like, on
Yeah.
SNL.
I remember her most recent, obviously, it
Mhm.
was only a few months ago, and then maybe 1 or 2 times before that as well.
Yeah.
Because she's hosted 2 or 3 times, or maybe not hosted, but
She's almost in the 5 times
almost Five
club.
Timers Club.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think she's close. It's at least she's if you count just musical guest appearances, she's been on the show at least 3 times, I
yeah.
think, if not more.
She's great. Yeah, so I was really impressed with her style. Like, she put in the work to, like, to give herself a more polished voice, and, I really appreciated that. So I saw it with my sister, my brother-in-law, and my wife, and my sister, who is a trained professional singer, is what she went
Yes.
to college for, I turned to her and I was like, "How novel it is to hire people who can sing to be in a musical."
Isn't that wild?
Wild.
Imagine.
Imagine hiring trained professional singers to be in a musical. Unbelievable. And it's just like people, oh my, it turns out people will like it because they're good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, turns out.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, it does help that there is also star power there, right? So,
Sure, Ariana Grande is star power. Cynthia Erivo is star power, but mostly for stage people.
I was gonna
You
say,
know,
not as mainstream, right?
right.
As
Not that
Ariana
people
Grande.
wouldn't have seen her in stuff. She was Harry Tubman in the Harry Tubman movie that came out just a few years ago.
Yep.
And there was something else that is in my brain, but won't come out into my mouth. So this is gonna stay there. Um,
Won't come out into my mouth from my brain.
Yep, nope, not gonna do that. If I only had a brain,
Ah, nice. There we
um,
go.
so but she was wonderful. Very
She
different
was
than listening to Adina Menzel.
very different.
and I just really I liked her take on the character, liked her quiet reserve. I felt that
Mm,
by the time we reached her narrative arc to get to her self-discover her quest self-discovery, by the time sorry, we talked about this last episode, so it's still in my brain. Her quest self-discovery by the end, that she needs to defy gravity, her I Want song, she has several I Want songs,
mhm, mhm,
as a
mhm.
broad she has, The Wizard and I, and she has
Yes.
the Fiero love song, and then she
Yes.
has Defying Gravity, but those other 2 songs mean nothing by the time you get to Defying Gravity, because that's actually what, she's the next level of achievement, and
Right.
finally you get to, I mean, you know the music at least, so by the time you get to the end of the show and you get to For Good, like,
Mhm,
she's really come in a to her full self-discovery. But it's just really well trodden and
mhm,
laid out
mhm.
for people. And she does a really good job. Just a really, really fantastic
Fantastic.
job.
Fantastic.
The way that they played with the color green on her skin,
Oh, yeah.
fantastic. The like how green she was at different points, and how it like turned by when she gets to Emerald City, it's a slightly different green than what we
Yes.
were looking at. So she doesn't, like green screen and blend into the background.
Yes. Yeah, and there were really small, subtle things like, well, not yeah, I'm sorry, not subtle, but there were small, short-lived things
Movie's
like
not subtle. No.
it's not subtle, and what I'm about to describe is not subtle, but, when she's singing, oh gosh, like the sort of the first, I Want song, I get The Wizard and I,
Wizard
The
and I.
Wizard and
Yeah.
I, um, that moment, "Would it be alright by you if I would degreenify you," right?
Mhm.
And she turned to her actual skin color for a second, like,
Mhm.
for just a second, and it went back, and it was done in such a quick way to almost make you wonder if you saw what you saw,
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
know?
Yes.
Um, Beautifully done. I think it's actually probably a good way to segue into, like, cinematography and production value. Like, I've seen some talk online about how this movie looks. I think on the whole, this movie looks beautiful. Um,
Looks real is what it looks like.
it does look real, and, like, it does show that we're on real sets.
Yeah, because it's not that weird, like, after finish sheen that a lot of movies have been doing recently.
Yes.
You get, like, even if it's real, it looks fake because you shined it up in post-production.
Right.
It's a
Right.
it's a weird color grading thing that I
Yes,
don't like,
exactly.
and so, like, you start in Munchkin Land with Glinda, and I'm like, "Wow, you built those homes." Like,
Mhm.
you that this became Wicker Man really fast,
Yes.
Wicker Witch or
The
whatever.
Wicker Witch of the
Yeah,
West. There it
and
is.
yeah, but it looks great. That's a
Yes.
real fire, that's a real this, that's a real that. They, like, really
That's a real
plant
bubble she's flying
they, like,
in. It's
really planted the poppies outside of Oz or something like that,
Is
and
that true?
so, like, yeah, my sister told me that, where they just, like, really went for it, and I can tell because it's still going to look good 20 years from
Yes.
now.
That's right. Yeah.
Even
Yep.
some of it doesn't look some of it won't look exactly real. It doesn't like the monkeys or whatever. I don't care.
Sure.
The Wizard of
That's
Oz
fine.
monkeys don't look real either.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. And that's a 80-something-year-old movie.
Right. Exactly.
I I was very yeah, I think I completely agree with you. I think there were a few places where I can think of where it's and they were the very CG heavy place. Like during Defying Gravity, she's obviously not really flying. So so we are seeing some green screen or CG.
Some of it she was, because apparently she did a lot of vocal training to fly and sing at
She
the
did the
same time.
wire
'Cause
work. I mean, for sure she did the wire work.
yeah, because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they did the Les Mis style where they sang on set as
Mhm,
opposed
mhm.
to pre-recording
Yes.
in studio and then going backwards.
Yes.
So it was a lot of singing on set, which I'm sure some of it was redone,
Was looped, yeah, but
was looped and redone. Yeah.
still,
Mhm. Yep.
like, it was super well done. It was watching the movie, I was not sure. I didn't know that for sure, that they had recorded all the sound on set, although so
Mhm.
I couldn't quite tell, and I mean that as a compliment because it like, the sound was so good. that it was hard to tell. I think it really shows the difference between having them be real singers singing on set versus actors who
Mhm.
can sing, uh, singing live on set, being recorded live on set. I think that makes a big difference, a bigger difference than maybe I realized. And this is like the stark contrast between the things.
Mhm. Yep,
Yeah.
I completely agree. Completely agree. There were some really nice subtle nods to the musical. If you not
Yes.
even subtle, I shouldn't say
Yeah, I
subtle.
mean,
Okay,
yes,
well, this
again, not
movie is
subtle.
subtle.
Yes, yes.
But like in Defying Gravity, like they give her the triangle cape at the end because that's
Yep.
when they lift her up in on stage. That's how they
Mhm.
hide what she's on and everything. Is that her cape extends all the way out, and so
Right.
I just loved that. It just like
Yeah.
it was
Find a way to, like, work it in, right? Like,
right.
make it not just be a thing that they did for practical reasons on stage, make it part of the thing. Right.
Mhm. Some really fun cameos, obviously, right?
Obviously,
Like,
yes.
um, Idina Menzel and Kristen
And
Chenoweth.
Kristen Chenoweth.
Steven Schwartz is the guy
Yes, I
on
wasn't
Soundsets.
expecting that
The
one.
Wizard Will
Who
See You
rang
Tomorrow.
that bell?
Yeah, right, yeah. Like, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, the whole, my wife always says that that's my favorite character in The Wizard of Oz, like, because it is. I love that guy.
The guard?
I love the guard. Who rang
Yes.
that bell? And,
Who is also the wizard.
the wizard, right.
Yeah.
But in my mind, it's the wizard just
Yeah.
putting
Oh,
on a bunch of
oh,
stuff.
nice. It's
Like,
actually him.
even though
Nice.
it's not I know it's not, it's supposed to be different people, but I just love the
Still.
idea of the wizard just, like, being
Yes.
everybody. And
Yes,
he's like,
yes,
"I
yes,
just
yes.
have to fool everyone."
He drives the horse of a different color.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's just that guy. He's just that guy,
Love that.
even though he's got
Okay,
prosthetics for different parts and
I've
whatever.
never thought of it that way, and I love this headcanon that, like, it's actually
It
him.
it makes Emerald City such a weirder place than it already is because they're, like, just, either tricked by his tomfoolery
Right.
or he's just or they just live with the wizard being this really weird guy who's like, "I'm also the guard. I'm also this guy who drives a horse
He
that
wants us
changes
to
color."
look, he thinks he's pulling it off. He thinks we don't know. Just pretend, all right?
Mhm.
It's like that Robot Chicken, Star Wars thing where it's like, "Oh, we'll put a mustache on you and make Vader think that he killed you."
Yep, mhm. Yeah, it's exactly like that.
Yeah.
But that's how I thought about it as a kid, because as a kid, I knew it was the same actor, so, like, I could
Ah,
tell, so I was like but I couldn't figure out that he was just supposed to be different people, so I was like, "Oh, must be the wizard just being weird," and it's never left my brain.
that's so funny. That
So
is so, so funny. I love that. I
yeah,
haven't watched The Wizard of Oz. Actually, no, that's a lie. I was gonna say I haven't watched it in a long time, but no, I watched it, like, a little over a year ago.
that's not
Um, but I mean, it used to be an every at least once a year thing.
oh, yeah. For sure, it was always on TV around Easter?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
Christmas?
think it's, like, in the spring, right?
One of those, yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
Easter. That
I,
connected to The Wizard of Oz, just going
mhm.
together.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. I remember, actually, a lot of stuff in this movie, there's a lot that, like, also w visually tied back to that movie, right? Like,
Mhm.
the opening title sequence, which, like, hey, can we talk about the fact that opening title sequences are a thing again, apparently? Which I'm actually
Mhm.
really happy about.
Yep, not upset.
Um
Let that orchestration play, baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was that I saw this movie and I saw A Complete Unknown, the James Mangold, Bob Dylan, biopic, and, that also has, like, an opening title sequence, and I was
I
like,
saw
"Hey,
Nosferatu, which I also believes has an opening title sequence.
amazing." See, like,
Pretty sure I might have made that up, but I'm pretty sure I didn't.
it's a
Yeah.
trend. It is coming back, and I'm, like, so here for it. I miss it. I
Mhm.
I really have not enjoyed the era of putting the title of the movie at the end.
No, I
Of,
don't
like, the
like that.
last thing before the closing end credits is the title. Um,
That's what I was
it was
watching? I
interesting.
sat in the wrong movie.
Right, right, right,
Yeah.
right. Like, it was interesting the first few times I saw it. It's like, "Oh, that has impact when you do it that way." But it's been, like, a decade or more of that, and it's like, come on. It's no longer novel, but the opening credits are classic, and they used similar font and all of that stuff. I mean, it's just, yeah, just great. Just great. Love that they did that. Loved, the visuals of, uh Glinda at the beginning in Munchkin Land like was obviously very consistent
Mhm.
um with the original film. Yeah, love it.
Maybe Nosferatu doesn't have an opening title sequence. I
That's okay.
honestly can't remember.
Two
That's okay.
two major films this year having open title sequences is two films that are probably going to be Oscar bait.
Yep, still an upward trend. Right.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. The supporting cast, we have not talked about them.
Mhm.
Guy who plays Prince Fiero, don't know his
Oh,
name. He was good.
yeah, he was good.
He was
He was
good.
really good. We didn't have Michelle Yeoh, who really, I mean, and
He's always good, you know?
she's always fantastic.
Mhm.
You can count on her. She's reliable, and she's outstanding. Um,
Jeff
Obviously,
Goldblum doing
the
his
wizard
Jeff Goldblum
himself, Jeff
thing.
Goldblum.
You
Yes.
know, what I appreciated is that he is what people expect him to be at this stage in his career. Because if you go back and watch his early stuff, like, he's not doing that. He's doing,
No, the
like
character has evolved over time, right? The
correct,
Jeff Goldblum character has evolved over time. Yeah.
correct, but I did not find him to just be Jeff Goldblum. Like,
Agreed.
yes, he's a showman in which who Jeff Goldblum is, but he's actually playing a part, but he's playing Jeff Goldblum playing a part. So it's like a really weirdly layered performance, like they like
Yes.
because he wants you to be like, "It's me, fuzzy Jeff Goldblum." And you're like, "Oh, it's fuzzy Jeff Goldblum," and then you're like, "Fastest Jeff Goldblum." Yeah,
Yes.
so, like, I really appreciated what he chose to do. I like that a lot. Um, uh, Dr. Dillamon, can't remember Peter Dinklage as Dr. Dillamon.
That's right. Yes, it was
Yeah,
Peter Dinklage. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
some good stuff. So and
Who is like actually perfect voice casting for
y
for that
mhm.
character.
Sometimes, right, a voice cast, especially like an animal, you're like, "You don't sound like you're supposed to sound," but
Mm,
this was good.
that fits like yeah, that fits
Mhm.
so perfectly. His voice is yeah, he's great. He's
Yeah,
obviously great.
yeah.
Um,
No, everybody, even like Nessa and
yep.
Bach and, like, they were all really strong standout.
Bowen Yang.
Glinda's friends, you're right, yeah, yep. Is that Glinda's friend on
Yes.
SNL? Yep.
Yes. Bowen
Yes, their
Yang,
their Moulin Rouge sequence on SNL is that so good.
fantastic. Yes, he wanted to be in the movie very, very badly.
Mm,
But it was going to conflict with his SNL schedule.
mm.
So Ariana Grande personally called Lorne Michaels and asked him to let Bowen fly back and forth between New York and London during the SNL season, like during the week, every week to like fly back and forth so that he could shoot it, be there on like Friday and Saturday for SNL, like catch up.
Mhm.
Everyone else has been working on sketches since Wednesday, Thursday. He's getting there Friday, learning whatever he has to learn, doing the live show on Saturday, and then going back to London to shoot
Wow.
more. And he
That
did
must
this
have
for several weeks.
absolutely exhausting, but
It must have been, but he wanted to be in it so badly. He's a big theater guy, and he really really wanted to be in it. And he and Ariana became close friends. And
mm,
she called and vouched for him and personally called Lauren and I guess when a celebrity calls Lauren, he can't really say no. So he
especially one that does a lot for SNL, like,
correct.
does a lot on SNL.
So correct. So yeah. So he made the exception.
And, and that's my wife and I will watch movies and, like, say to each other, like, when there's, like, a really good bit character, like a really side character, and be like, "There are no small parts." Like
Yeah, that's right.
like, that's kind of like our shorthand, and he was one of those, like, "There are no small parts."
That's right. Yeah, great example of
Because
that.
he's one of the most memorable people in the entire movie,
Yes.
and he's barely a character.
Yeah,
Like,
I got this sense that that character is probably smaller in the stage musical.
I
Is that right?
don't remember that character
Okay,
in the
that's
stage
fair.
show at all.
That's fair.
You know?
That's an oddly specific question, so that's totally fair.
Yeah. But, yeah, there are no small parts. That is one of
Yeah.
those, like, I will remember you. You did a great job. Like, really good on you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did
I don't
great.
even see color has been, like, when he's, like, talking about
Yes.
Alphabet and walking away. I've been laughing about that since I saw the movie. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. It's great.
Do you remember, so you saw it on Broadway. Do you remember who played the 2 lead roles?
I don't know,
Okay.
and I don't think I have the playbill anymore either.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Because some interesting people have cycled through there.
Mhm,
Um, my sister realized that when she saw it, and I think she saw it around 2006-ish,
mhm.
um, I think, she's pretty sure that Anna Gasteyer was playing Elphaba at the time. In retrospect, she realized that's probably who it was.
That's about the time that I also saw it. Pretty
Interesting.
sure I saw it in 2006.
Okay.
2005, 2006, somewhere
Okay.
in there.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Hmm,
Cool.
interesting. Yeah,
Interesting.
that's very cool.
Yeah.
You said Anna Gasteyer?
Mhm.
You said? I don't know who that is, to be perfectly honest with you.
Um, she's from SNL. She Yeah, this
Can I
is worth
use
your one look
your
up.
one lookup?
Yeah, this is worth a look up.
ANA or
Eh,
ANNA?
one N. You would know her from the Sweaty Balls sketch. You would know her. She always played Martha Stewart.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
okay. Yeah, I know who she is. Yep.
yes, you know who she is.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, she played Elphaba um
Hmm.
for a while, which I didn't realize. But yeah, apparently that was a thing, and some other folks have cycled through both of those parts. It was super fun to see Christian Chenoweth and Idina Menzel. Sorry, Adele Dazeem, in the
That's
in
so
their
good.
cameos. That was a super fun. I had mistakenly heard that that they did not make cameos, and I was like, that seems fake.
Yep.
The closest I could think was maybe they're saving it for part 2. But glad to see that was wrong. And they were what a treat. Like, what a treat to see the 2 of them together. Yeah. What a fun it was a super fun movie. It was well done. The performances were great. The costumes were great, Tim. The
They were
sets were
great.
great. The effects were great. Everything was great about it. The music
Everything
was
was
great.
great.
I
I'm looking at the people who played Elphaba on Broadway.
Okay. Anybody else noteworthy?
Um, probably, um, Lane Bowman, that sounds familiar. I'm just looking at around the time that I
Oh, around the
think
time
I've
you
seen
went.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
which would have been it could have been Shoshana Bean, it could have been Eden Espinosa, it could have been and on a how do you say her last name? Gastier?
Gas Dyer.
Gastier, could have been Julia Murney, Stephanie J. Block. I don't remember exactly what it could have been anywhere in there. What is worth noting is that I do know somebody, my friend who I have not seen in a long time, my friend Shane, his wife was Elphaba for quite some time. You know
I've
Shane, right? Don't you know Shane?
I met Shane, I think, once, and
Yeah,
I remember that his wife what does Shane also work in show business?
he does.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah, okay. I this is familiar. Yes. I think I did meet Shane once. I can't remember what the circumstance. Maybe it was your wedding or something, but I don't remember what the circumstances were, but I definitely met him. Yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah, right? I know.
Yeah.
It's like when you know somebody, you know somebody.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
But
Well,
anyway, my friend, I think our time has come. Where can the people find us?
yeah, head on over to beerwithgeeks.com. You can see all of our past episodes in the archives. You can do a search and find us talking about other musicals like 1776 and
So long ago.
long time ago. That was one of the early ones. Um, we talked about Hamilton. We've done lots of we've done a fair few musicals. So if you like that, take a spin through, maybe search Broadway, and see what you find. But you can if the web isn't your thing, you can of course find us in whatever podcast app that you like. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com, and you can uh, support us at patreon.com/thought bubble audio to help us keep making the show.
And I would appreciate that, as would
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
So until next time. Cheers.
Cheers.